of Banban!
Sorry, brah.
Something weird has happened in the indie horror gaming space, and I think it's about time someone talked about it. Ever since Garten of Banban blew up and every YouTube video on the face of the earth called it the new Poppy Playtime, I've wondered what mob games the studio behind Poppy Playtime thought about it. Do they care that this new game completely ripped them off? Are they staying silent because Poppy Playtime was basically a ripoff itself? Do they not care because the quality of Banban could never compare to the quality of Poppy? We can't know for sure how the Poppy Playtime developers feel about this new game riding off their success. The closest thing we have to a mob game statement regarding Garten of Banban is this reply to a tweet from Phil Morg. This doesn't really count though. However, there is a way that these creators can subtly comment on indie horror whenever they want. They don't speak about this stuff on their Twitter or on the Mob Games YouTube channel, but they do have complete control over a YouTube channel that makes these indie horror games into animations for a younger audience. I am of course talking about Zamination! I mean, they also have Enchanted Mob, but I guess they forgot the password to that one. Zamination is a YouTube channel that makes animations for kids using indie horror characters, such as the FNAF cast, the Poppy Playtime characters, the Bendy characters, etc. This YouTube channel is also run by the same people as Mob Entertainment, aka the creators of Poppy Playtime. So in a weird and ridiculous way, the creators of Poppy Playtime are able to express thoughts on their competitors through animations made for children. I haven't seen this done before, but today's video exists for a reason. The latest video on Zamination, as the time of this recording, is basically the creators of Poppy Playtime acknowledging Garten of Banban as a game directly. Not only that, they defend its existence. And not only that, it defends it in a musical number. I told you this was weird. I'm going to play you different parts of this animation, and we'll break it down bit by bit, starting with what I like to call Huggy's Crisis.
I'm Jumbo Josh.
No, stop! I can't do this anymore, man. I can't do it!
What do you mean, brah?
I mean, we had this whole thing planned out. I was gonna say you copied us. Bendy was gonna come out, get a few laughs, but it just feels like we're going through the motions, you know? The more these indie horror games come out, the more it just feels like the magic is gone.
So as you can see right off the bat, this is shockingly self-aware coming from Mob Games. The creators of Poppy Playtime make the conscious decision to admit that Poppy Playtime is very heavily based on, we'll say, Bendy. Although it was very obvious, that's just a really weird thing to confess. An insane amount of people believe Poppy Playtime to be really lazy as is, and of course people say it ripped off Bendy, because it obviously did. Confirming that to be true is not the best look, but I guess it's honest. But this isn't just Mob Games admitting that Poppy Playtime copied Bendy, it's also them admitting that it feels like the magic of indie horror is gone. They don't take responsibility for that, and I don't even necessarily believe they have to, for the record, but they do admit that the current state of indie horror isn't as special as it once was. Which again, I find odd, given how much influence Poppy Playtime has had on the current state of indie horror. This is a bad animation for small kids, but it weirdly gives us insight on how the people within Mob Games are feeling about the space that they exist in. Which is weird and funny, but also pretty interesting, to me at least. But it gets weirder, funnier, and more interesting, because after Huggy Wuggy has this little crisis, Jumbo Josh comforts him with a song. And I cannot prepare you for this enough, so here you go.
Sit on my lap, brah. Come here.
Why are there so many games about mascots with lore that feels rushed and contrived? But that doesn't mean they have
No love and passion.
They just need to actually try.
Let's work together to make a correction and make these games feel more unique. And make sure to play Chapter 3 as soon as it comes out on Steam.
First of all, this is the best advertisement of all time. However, we're going to ignore the plug for Chapter 3, at least for now. Let's really analyze these top-tier lyrics, because again, this is coming from the creators of Poppy Playtime, who plenty credit for destroying the state of indie horror. So, again, I think we can get some really great insight from this. The first two bars say, "Why are there so many games about mascots with lore that feels rushed and contrived?" Although this could be a jab at only Garten of Banban, this feels like yet another weird confession. Are the creators of Poppy Playtime literally saying that the lore of their game is rushed and contrived? And even besides that more obvious part, it's also kind of weird to say, why are there so many games about mascots? It's basically another admission of, our game is very unoriginal. However, the song goes on to say, but that doesn't mean they have no love and passion, they just need to actually try. Although I'd love to make fun of mob games, Poppy Playtime, and Garten of Banban, this is weirdly respectful. You could definitely interpret this as mob games saying that Garten of Banban didn't try, but I actually don't see it that way. With the line about trying only coming after a line about how these games were made with love and passion, this comes across as mob games welcoming their competitors into the space as peers as opposed to competitors. I would argue this is a defense of Garten of Banban. Because the following lyrics are, let's work together to make a correction and make these games feel more unique. Although this video is absolutely Poppy Playtime saying that Garten of Banban copied them and isn't the best game out there, it's also them giving constructive criticism more so than it is bashing the Banban devs. They're basically going, we all have love and passion for what we do, so let's work together to make the games in the space more unique. I disagree with a lot of this, and I still do not like mob games nor the Euphoric Brothers, but this is a shockingly respectful sentiment. Again, I still cannot agree with it. Garten of Banban had no love or passion, and shouldn't be welcomed as a peer by the other game developers within indie horror. And for the record, Poppy Playtime is also certainly not a passion project, and should really follow their own advice of being more unique. And including Rainbow Friends into this discussion also doesn't do much to add to its validity. This is also just a really weird way to open this discussion, and it doesn't really make any sense at all. I know this is what you've been wanting me to say, so here. This is a goofy Minecraft-style animation on a YouTube channel watched by children. Why do anything besides make quote-unquote funny animations for kids? Everyone that watches this channel doesn't even like indie horror. They simply like these characters because of what unofficial media does with them. Discussing the current state of indie horror, the gaming industry, the way low-quality games gain success, the greediness of development teams, the way developers try to appeal to a younger audience more than they try to make a good product. None of this is subject matter that the Zamination audience cares about or even understands. This is just so goofy. You have mascot horror characters taken out of their horror setting to talk about the genre and industry that they derive from. Why? Who thought this made sense? Yes, this animation is incredibly stupid for a variety of reasons. However, Zamination, Mob Entertainment, Mob Games, and Poppy Playtime are still a collective entity. Therefore, this animation is a legitimate insight to the perspective of the Poppy Playtime creators on the current state of indie horror, and the games trying to ride out their success like Garten of Banban. A more reasonable statement on the subject matter would be preferable, but how would they do that? I guess the Meatly is fairly active and respectful on Twitter, and obviously Scott Cawthon used to be very active on Reddit, but Mob Games giving their 2 cents on different indie games on Twitter or something would be very weird. I guess it wouldn't be weirder than this, but this is what we currently have to work with. And I find it kind of fascinating. Poppy Playtime has been bashed for over a year, and then Garten of Banban comes out copying it, and failing even harder, so the idea of Mob Games talking about Garten simply intrigues me. This is literally Scum Dev versus Scum Dev, or funny enough, in this case, Scum Dev defends Scum Dev, even though they have no real reason to. That's the other thing. If Mob Games simply made fun of Garten of Banban and left it at that, I probably wouldn't make this video. But they chose to make the very bold claim that Garten of Banban, despite its flaws, was made with love and passion. I guess they did use this as an excuse to defend themselves as well, but a game that ripped them off and did everything so much worse than them finally came out, and instead of taking full advantage of that or even just ignoring it, they chose to be pretty damn nice about it. I just wouldn't expect that from any developer, let alone Mob Games. The success of Garten of Banban led to Mob Games admitting to copying Bendy, admitting the indie horror scene has declined, admitting their own lore is contrived, defending their only competitors that are lazier than them, and making themselves look way better and worse at the same time, using a bad animation for babies. You cannot tell me this isn't interesting. But I guess that is all there is to say. I just really wanted to talk about this, if I'm being honest. I know I talk about Garten of Banban way too much, but first of all, that's not going to change. And second, this was just so weird, and I knew no one else would make this video. I was just so intrigued by everything in this video, the weird self-awareness from Mob Games, the defending of Garten of Banban, the having of this discussion in a Minecraft animation for children. I just could not get this shit off my mind. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit the like button if you had a good time. It really helps me out. And hit the subscribe button if you want to see more of the garbage I put out into the world. And if you would like to go the extra mile, become a channel member for perks and access to our weekly members-only streams. We have a lot of fun over there. Thank you for watching once again. I will see you guys next time.